Yes.
Guys, go ahead.
For the record, please state your name and section.
I'm Vince Cuevas of 4J, Pueblo.
Alright, please pick your question. Hopefully it's not the same question as last time. Please read your question out loud for the camera.
Should we prioritize the needs of the people for land, food, and shelter over the protection of the environment?
You have 30 seconds.
Sir, I say yes. But when we prioritize the needs for the people, like land, food, and shelter, we must apply limits. We must maintain order, and at the same time maintain cleanliness, so that our environment will not be that much affected of what we're doing. Because if we don't, chances are that the more we prioritize this for the people, the more we endanger our ecosystem. And the protection of the environment usually has to come second, besides the needs of should come second. Why? The needs of the people in the country are more important, but we should also remember that we should only get what's necessary. We shouldn't get too much.
Alright. You talked about limits. We should apply limits. We should prioritize the needs of people, but we should apply limits. Talk about those limits. What are those limits?
So we should limit our use of the land. We should limit the use of, let's say, our cars, because right now, sir, one of the biggest contributions to CO2 in the atmosphere is cars. And then there's power generation, like the use of coal power plants. We should also limit that, or if we won't limit that, we should at least try to apply air scrubbers so the fumes exhausted from the power plant will be lessened, and it won't really affect the atmosphere.
All right. Who decides those limits?
It's the government who will decide.
What right does the government have to decide on those limits when even the government itself can have, in fact, secret hidden agendas or motives to enrich themselves? Why the government? Why do you pick the government to choose these limits?
Sir, it's better if the government decides these limits besides like private corporations, sir, because sometimes private corporations don't abide the law. They get, for example, sir, they get big swaths of land. They only use half of it when the others is private land. And if they, for example, sir, like one corporation owns a big forest area, but he has no use for it. So, what is more likely that it will be private land, but at the same time, landless people will have a disadvantage because they know that that land is not theirs.
Okay, Vince, last question. We should not pick private corporations. They should not set the limits. The government should. But because the corporations, as your train of thought goes, because the corporations do not always follow laws. Last question. Even the government doesn't always follow laws. Even the government can break its own laws. So why the government? What right does the government have to dictate what happens to the environment when even the government, number one, does not follow laws, and number two, are not even experts on the environment itself? That's the last one.
I'd rather pick the government over the private corporations there, because if it were the private corporations to decide on their limit, chances are the environment would be in even greater danger, because like the same example sir, the forest land, if they wanted extra profit, they would cut down all the trees, and if it were in a mountainous area, landslides would occur. So I'd rather pick the government than the private corporation, because usually the government, but it depends on the country, the government sometimes follows its laws that it provides. But yes, we know sir that most governments don't follow the land limits they impose, because they think that it's for the greater good of the country, it's for the greater good of the people, even though it might just be lies or another way to get the people's support for they're okay to get the land that the government wants.
Alright, that will be all. Thank you. For the record, please state your name and section.
Name and section?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Siron Colubanganon from 4C of Pueblo campus.
You're supposed to be, you're supposed to be like kanang neutral.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Neutral.
Alright. Please state your, pick your question. Please state your question in front of the camera.
Should we allow advertisements that specifically target children?
Your 30 seconds starts.
I'm not allowed to answer. I understand this thing.
Go.
So should we allow advertisements that specifically target children? Well, yes, of course. Like for example, there are advertisements that will warn the parents in case of like kidnapping. So there are like advertisements that says that kidnapping is bad. So I have seen some advertisements on Facebook posted that uses one man as an example and gave that man some lollipops, and by the use of that lollipops, that man randomly gave those lollipops to random children. So what's written in the lollipop is take care of your children. A split second of negation of your children results to a lifetime of regret. So what am I saying there is that children should also be targeted in advertisements, because if there are no advertisements that target children, maybe there would be cases of kidnapping or hold-upping or killing of children via parents that are not warned properly. And if these parents were warned properly, maybe these parents will never leave their children, will never leave them by their side, and will result to the safety of their children.
Alright. Since you are talking about advertisements which specifically target children, advertisements about safety, like for example the warnings given by Pag-asa, the OST, you're talking about that, right? You're talking about things like that. That advertisements that specifically warn. The problem is those are not the only kinds of advertisements out there. There are advertisements which target children for the purpose of selling a product. Yes or no?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there are. Take Jollibee for example. Jollibee is very, very good at targeting children. you have seen Jollibee advertisements, yes or no?
Yes.
Isn't it kind of unfair that they are targeting these children, but children cannot decide for themselves properly yet, and therefore are easily fooled by these advertisements? Is it unfair for the children? Respond.
Well, I don't think it's unfair for the children because they have seen from the TV that those children from the TV is having fun, and I think those children from the TV is really having fun in tasting those foods, and I don't think those children who were watching those advertisements, from example Jollibee, are fooled, because I think that those children in the advertisements are really saying the truth that Jollibee has good foods, has good drinks that are good for people.
All right, let's move away let's move away towards a less moral company.
Yes.
Take cell phones. Take cell phones or gadgets, for example. Cell phones and gadget advertisements aimed not only at children but actually at preteens. Preteens meaning people who are just below teenage age. Those kinds of advertisements teach teenagers that you are worthless if you do not have a phone. You are only worth something if you're only worth something if you have a phone. They teach materialism. Isn't it unfair for the kids? Respond.
Well, what they say is just persuasive. It is not really necessary to have a phone, but they are saying that it is important to have a phone, since nowadays in this age we really need gadgets to have easier life, because everything right now has been run or managed by what you call that, gadgets or mechanical things. So what they were saying is that they were persuading those children or preteens to have a phone because they needed it, and it is necessary in nowadays.
All right, last question. Good for you because you are mature. Good for you because you know the difference between showing a need and teaching materialism. What about the kids? They're not as mature as you. They're not as mature as us. And therefore, they may not be able to tell the difference between materialism and simply needing a phone for survival purposes. So, should we just ban advertisements for children so that we can only show it to teens, and teens at the same time, teens at least can understand the advertisements? Respond.
Well, speaking about that phone, those children can just right after their eyes see those advertisements, but actually parents can evade them or disregard or help those kids to disregard the phones via letting them play in computer, because we know that those children enjoy more on computer, and because of that, children will slowly forget those phone advertisements and will disregard them.
Alright, that will be all. Thank you. That will be all. Thank you. For the record, again, please state your name and section.
My name is Dr. Angelo Espada from 9C Paladins.
Please state your question. Please read your question for the camera. Please read your question for the camera, out loud for the camera.
Should child labor be banned?
You have 30 seconds. Sepeda.
Go. For me, child labor should not be banned. Because we have experienced many people in the streets mostly children who sell newspapers, candies, or anything that their boss will give them, or any product that they want to sell. The reason why they are doing this is because their parents, either their parents are deceased or they are too lazy to work. Normally, this would be very bad because parents should actually work for their children. But in some cases, children tend to work for their parents because either they're being forced to or they have no choice. Maybe their parents are sick and they cannot be able to work anymore. It's not just here in the Philippines that have that do child labor. Mostly every country in the world have children who work in the streets, in selling newspapers, selling rags in the malls, and even selling cigarettes.
Alright, first basic, kasi it's 1 minute now. First basic point. Every country has child labor. So therefore, it's okay to have child labor. Is that what you're saying? Every other country has child labor. So therefore, it's no big deal if the Philippines has child labor. Is that what you're saying?
Every country has child labor. And if the child wants to work for their parents, he can work for his parents. No one's stopping him because he controls his life. He's doing what he wants.
Alright, I'm gonna play fair. I'm gonna go by your own points. The child has to work because the parents is either deceased or lazy. The lazy part is too easy and I'm gonna forget the lazy part. Let's go to the deceased part. If the child is deceased, if the parent is deceased and the child has no other choice but to work, shouldn't that be the time that the government should step in? Shouldn't the government save those children and bring them to places where they don't have to work? Respond.
I'm not talking about children. I'm not talking about both parents being deceased. I'm talking about maybe the dad is away, or no, not away. Maybe the dad is deceased, but the mom has sickness and she's not able to work. So the child or the children, being the only one able to work, has to step in and take the responsibility of supplying the needs for the family.
Alright, but that's the point. The dad is deceased, but the mom has no capability to work anyway. Still, the question stands. Shouldn't the government be stepping in during cases like that? Respond.
The government, the child wants to work, he can have it. The government have actually bigger problems than child labor. They have corruption within their own government. They have natural resources being abused, and I don't see the problem of children being able to work at a younger age. It means that they are independent. It means they are capable of living their own life. It means they are capable of supplying the needs for the family.
Alright. A child should be free to choose his own destiny. That was more or less your own words. Question. Is a child, give or take, 6 years old to something like 10 years old? Because we've seen people that young work in the mines, work in the streets. 6 years old to 10 years old. Do you think that child is mature enough to choose his own destiny? Do you think that child is old enough to know what's right and wrong and to choose his own destiny? Respond.
The child has experienced many things in the streets, has experienced many problems, he has seen the types of people. If the parents can't help him, then who would? I don't see people who would just look at the child and say, you should do this, you should do that. If the child knows between right or wrong, the child, due to experience of being in the streets, then I say that he is very capable of choosing his own destiny.
Last question. This is my last question. Or this is the last question. Can you guarantee that each and every child can choose right or wrong? You see, you've said children that have been through hard times can in fact mature, can in fact choose for themselves because, you know, they've been through hard times. Can you guarantee that each and every child who's working can in fact choose for themselves, are in fact mature? That's my last question. Take your time.
Yes, because life as we know it isn't fair. Children aged 6 to 10 are working, but children who live with rich families, they live the life of luxury. Their parents choose what's good for them, and even I am included those children with luxury. I haven't chosen any of my destiny, but I stand for the children ages 6 to 10 who are working in the streets, that they are in fact mature enough to choose their own destiny. Because life is tough, life is hard, and who would help them? They should help themselves. They should step in, think about their lives, and say, no one's going to help me, then I should take a stand. I should choose what's right or wrong. I should be the one to control my life. Since times are hard and they obviously don't know how to trust that many people, they should really choose their own decisions.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What was your question?
You wanna keep that for, or no? You wanna keep, no. Abe, I am gonna leave it there for makasanding tayo. Are you sir? Hi, sir.
Wait, wala akong
For the camera, please take your name and section.
My name is Paul Mayer and I'm from 19.
Please take your question. Please take your question for the camera. Step back a little bit and read your question for the camera.
Should cameras be placed in courtrooms so that the criminal trials can be televised?
Your timer starts. How many are left outside? Four. Surveyor. 2, 1, go.
Should cameras be placed in courtrooms so that the criminal trials can be televised? I actually think that this could be a question more of opinion. This could be going yes or no, but I will say no because this is for more privacy sake of the criminals. I don't want people to know that, let's say, if I were who was a rapist, what if I raped guys or girls? I wouldn't want people to exactly know that. I don't want this to be publicized nationwide or internationally. Because if this were just a crime that would get me out in 10 years, I would be only punished for 10 years in jail. I wouldn't want to go out and be mocked because of it. Sir, if I were ever to murder someone, sure, I might be hanged, but if I were to get a less serious punishment, be put in jail 15 years, and I would get out, I wouldn't have a job. If I were to go and put on my resume, I would be whatever. Then also on my resume, I wouldn't have a choice in this, but there would be putting that I was a murderer. So it would affect my chances that after my punishments happen, I would less likely be able to live my life.
Alright, let's go by your train of thought. You have assumed that if a person, let's assume that the rapist who is being tried in the courtroom is, really did the crime. Let's assume for that moment. Isn't it kind of funny that you are protecting the rights of the convicted or you're protecting the rights of the criminal? What about the rights of the people who have been wronged? What about the families of the murder victims who want the whole world to see that this guy murdered my child? Respond.
Sir, if this were still going on the example of the rapist, If you were to be the rapist, you wouldn't exactly want people to know about this, as it would affect your life afterwards. Say that you were forced to do this. If you were part of a gang organization against your own will, like now going off to a different example. If you were a prostitute and you were doing drugs, not because you wanted to, but because it was against your own will, and it looked like you wanted to, you would be you would be going into a courtroom, and this would be televised, sir.
Isn't it kind of funny that, going back to the examples, the murderer who was murdered, you're worried that if you are a murderer and you said that a while ago, if you are a murderer and it was televised, once you get out of prison, you wouldn't be able to find a job because people would know your face, etc. But isn't that a bit weird? You're protecting the murderer when in fact there are other people that should be protected. There are people who have the right to see what murder trials look like so that they could avoid other murderers in the future, or they could avoid being murderers themselves in the future. Respond.
Sir, they should already know what murderers look like, because if you look onto television programs, there are always these advertisements. Murderers could be anyone, rapists could be anyone. Sir, anyone could do anything with their lives. Certain people will want certain things. Certain people will want other people to be publicized and, well, judged for their crimes, television style.
Alright, this is my last question. Basically, all you've been saying is, let's protect the rights of the criminals, and I respect that. Criminals have rights. But what I am trying to say here is, because these criminals have committed very bad acts, murder, rape, drugs, since they've committed bad acts, shouldn't we remove a bit of their rights to protect the rights of everybody else who need to see those trials for protection purposes? Shouldn't we waive a bit? Shouldn't we remove those rights so that other people will be safe, so that justice can happen? That's my last question.
Sir, I still say no, because even if they acted inhumane, we should still act humane for the sake of, well, being humans. We should be able to judge fairly and judge according to what our laws state. If we do not do this, we are being inhumane, and it is considered corrupted, as you are allowing loopholes or breaking your own laws. Sir.
Not only all. Thank you. Not only all. Thank you.
I love you!
Wala pa na ako na-off from last year. From last year from kanina. For the camera, please state your name and section.
Good afternoon. I'm Gian Arroyo of 4J.
Please state your question. Please state your question for the cameras.
Should the government force medical treatment on patients who no longer want to be saved?
Your timer starts.
No, the government should not force medical treatment on patients who no longer want to be saved, because it's the patient's choice to be cured or not. Example, for patients who are terminally ill, like the ones who survive by the means of machine, some patients would recommend, some patients would want the machine to be turned off because they don't want to suffer more. And the government should not force or should not pursue medical treatment because it might cost a lot, especially if it has no hope. One reason that the government shouldn't force, because maybe some patients don't have hope for survival. Second, it might cost a lot. Third, it's a patient's choice. We need to respect the patient's choice to be cured or not.
Alright. Now, it is the government's job to save lives and protect the basic human right of life, yes or no? Just that, yes or no? It is the government's job to protect the basic human right of life, yes or no? Yes, it is. Alright, then if it is the government's job to protect life, even if you do not want to be saved, shouldn't the government step in to save you?
Again, sir?
Again, even if you do not want to be saved, even if you do not want your life to be saved, can you hear me? Okay, ang echo. Even if you do not want to be saved, isn't it the government's job to save your life, even if you do not want to be saved?
It's the government's job to save and preserve life. But it may be your choice not to be saved merely because you have no hope or your disease or your ailment cannot be cured.
What about cases wherein the ailment can in fact be cured? I wanna die now, but my ailment can be cured, but I wanna die now. What about those cases?
It's still the big. We have this order called "Do Not Resuscitate" order. It's an order from the patient that if they are already in the flat line, they won't be resuscitated by the doctor. So it's still the patient's choice not to be resuscitated.
All right. When somebody wants to jump off a building, meaning it's their choice to die, should the government step in and save that person? Yes
That's
or
another
no?
case, sir. That's psychiatric. This one is medical. This one is more about hospital setting, while your example is all about suicide.
Yes, they are different examples, but the point is the same. I want to die. It is my basic right. It is my basic choice to die. I want to die. How dare you stop me? It's different cases, but more or less the same point. So, should the government stop a person committing suicide? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, but you are saying that this is my last question. You will stop a person committing suicide, but you are stopping a person committing suicide, but you will not stop a person who says, I want to die. Don't save me, I want to die. That's the last question. What is the difference between the two?
Jumping off a bridge and lying on a bed is different.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the point. Spiritually, what is the difference between the two? What is the difference between the choice to die by jumping off a bridge and the choice to die by refusing to be saved? What is the difference?
The difference is you're on a bridge, you're in a bed. But really, the real difference is that the person is not conscious. This one is conscious. He knows that he wants to die. He knows that he's going to die, he has no hope, so he decided not to be resuscitated. While that person on a bridge preparing to do like that, they are not conscious, like some parts of their mind are not working because they're abnormal. In psychology, you want to die if you want to jump off that third floor thing if you're normal. So those are abnormal people who need help.
Alright, that will be all. Thank you. For the camera, please state your name and section. Please state your name and section.
Marvin Surge, G. Fuentes, 4C.
Paladins. Please pick a question. For the camera, please read your question out loud.
Should we ban the use of violent video games?
Your timer starts. Go.
Should we ban the use of violent video games? My answer is no. Why? Because violent video games can prepare us for the future. For example, like violent video games, like guns, like for example, modern warfare, like that. When we grow up, some of us will grow as a soldier, and it can prepare us because we have a little background by the use of violent video games. So we know how to shoot a gun, we know how to do how soldiers do, and it can. Violent video games is also helpful for our growth because for our growth in means of that it can prepare us in our future lives.
Alright. It's 1 minute na. Video games is a form of media, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Songs, movies, TV shows are also forms of media, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Will you let a 6-year-old child listen to a satanic song, yes or no?
No, it doesn't say that. The video game here doesn't say that there's no limitation to the age, because from what I've gone experience, that violent video games are only for like 14 years old or above, like parental guidance, and there are parental guidance they're only like this video game is only for 18 years and above.
All right, let's go by your train of thought. 30 years old or above. They have we call it the ESRB, the Electronic Software Rating Board, ESRB. That's what you see actually in the back of the cover of the video games you buy. Now, these ratings do not work. Look at the Columbine Massacre. Look at the Virginia Tech Massacre. Those were influenced by video games, Doom, the video games Call of Duty 1, Doom, and they were held by teenagers who were supposedly cleared to play these games. Meaning, they were allowed to play these violent games and they ended up committing huge atrocities. So shouldn't we ban games to prevent things like that from happening? Respond.
No, because it is up to the person that if he wants to be a killer, then he wants to be. But if he doesn't, then because it depends on our attitude. Because we have common sense. You know that it's good or that's bad. So why choose bad when you have good is good? Good is it can make you somewhat happy.
Alright, correct. You're correct in saying that there is no 100% guarantee that a person who plays violent video games will in fact be violent. That's what you're saying, right? There is no 100% guarantee, correct? But there is a chance. The chance is not zero. There is a probability, a very small probability, give or take 1%, yes or no. There is a 1% chance that you can become violent through violent video games.
Yes.
Yes, you will risk that 1% chance. Meaning, if 100 people play violent video games, it's okay if only one of them become a violent person. Respond.
Again, sir.
Again, you're saying the chance for violence is not zero. It's small, but it's not zero. I asked, would you agree with 1%? You said yes. Alright? If you want something smaller than that, we can agree on that. If you want something smaller than 0.01%, that's 1 out of every 10,000 people. Alright, if you have 10,000 people playing video games, it's okay if 10,000 people playing video games, out of the 10,000, one of them becomes a murderer, it's okay.
Actually, that's reality because in real life there's really a murder. So it really depends on us because we choose to be good or we choose to be bad. So there's always there's always a person who become a murderer out, even though it is a small percent.
If it is reality, then we should ban it. Alright? It's reality that if you use drugs, it can destroy your mind. So therefore we ban drugs. It's reality that if you jump off a building, it will kill you. So therefore we ban jumping off a building. If it's reality that video games will turn you into a violent person, we should ban video games.
No, that's
fun.
No, because if you play video games, it doesn't make you directly a murderer. So
yes, it doesn't make you directly a murderer. I understand. There is no guarantee. It's not 100%, but we agreed a while ago there is a small chance. And you will risk that small chance. It's okay. And you said it's reality.
yes, because video games or violent video games are actually made to entertain people, and violent video games are violent video games are diba we should risk video games just to make a small chance of a murder. We should not ban it because
Sige, finish your statement and that will be the last one. Sige. We should not ban it because
not all video games not all people play video game turns into murder, because some murders are turned because of like revenge or and some other problems due to their past lives, not only because of.
okay, that will be all. Thank you.
Woo! Good job, next break song! Super.
For the camera, please state your name and section.
Hello guys, my name is Guymer Akibayan and I am in the section of 9C. Yay! Woo!
Please pick your question. For the camera, please state your question out loud.
Should child labor be banned?
Oh. Wait lang. That question was already taken a while ago. Let's take a while. Murag na na-realize na po. She could have listened outside. You know, something like that.
Sir, last time, Paul was like...
For the record, please state your question.
Should we legalize the sale of human organs?
Your time starts.
Yes, sir. Should we legalize the sale of human organs? In my opinion, I say yes, because I believe that there are many people, especially those who are about to have failures, that still have potential of living if they just have like at least one organ, let's say a kidney. I say yes to this because it's not. It does not mean that it's too brutal, but it's for the sake of lives. And although I've heard that some people are selling organs illegally just for money, I believe that they should only purchase human organs at legitimate sellers, like hospitals, for example. It's just like donating blood, but in this case, there's just a pay for money. Because of course, you do not just take away a human organ without being treated after that. Of course, you have the surgery. You have to treat your wound, scars and all of that. So basically, the idea of this human organ, I think it should be legalized. It can save lives. Because just like my mother, she unfortunately has one kidney left, though she didn't opt for taking one. But if I were her, I would really be willing to buy one, because I believe that you could still live your life, and that you should. Every one of us has potentials, especially the ones in a younger age.
All right. The selling of human organs, it saves lives. Correct. I agree with that. Human organs, I mean, opening a trade for human organs will save lives. Problem is, the sale of human organs, legalizing the sale of human organs, can actually open the system to abuse. There is nothing stopping me from kidnapping a person, taking his organs, and selling it. Respond.
I believe that, of course, there would be always a negative side to things, and I think it would be better if we could expand our power, we could expand security once and for all. I've heard news about kidnapping and stuff. I think it's also the person's fault if they just wander around the street or like alone by themselves without supervision or guardians. I think it's with them in terms of safety.
You seriously believe that? I mean, you seriously think na it's okay, everything has a negative side? Like, if a mother was crying because her child was stolen from her, you would simply tell her, I'm sorry mom, there's always a negative side to everything. Respond.
Because I believe in saving lives, there's always sacrifice.
Okay, you're saying that in saving lives there's always sacrifice. What if the sacrifice entails something close to you? Something close to you, a friend, a family member. How would you think then?
Because I believe that might be his life's purpose.
Okay. O sige. I think I've heard enough na. One last concern. There are people who will actually buy and sell these organs for profit. There are people who will risk their own health just to get a little bit of extra money. Shouldn't the government protect these kinds of people as well? Respond.
I think no, because it's their choice. It's their right. They have the right to choose anyway. If they choose to make a risk in their health, then it's their life. They should live by it. Well, you should not just like sell it for extra money. You should also think about certain things also. It might harm your health, and if you die, your family will be left. You should also, aside from selling your human organs, you should also think about yourself and the family behind you, so that in that case, you won't make any trouble after all.
Alright, that will be all. Okay.
You're so cute, Grimer.
I did, boys. It's like sugar.
It's like your voice is so innocent.
It's kind of dark. Can you please turn on the lights? Okay, murag ngit-ngit ang iyang nose.
Si Vishal na lang, si B-Boy last.
Who?
B-Boy.
Then?
Vishal.
Okay. For the camera, please state your name and section.
I am Sean Benedict Auditor from 9C.
Hi, Meg.
Blocking the way.
Hi.
Please state your question. Please state your what? Is it the same question from last
Yes,
time?
ano sir, ganun may nakakuha niyo yung question.
Oh,
It's like the
how many
first
readers do
one.
I have here?
That's like so lucky.
Please state for the camera, please read your question out loud.
Should we ban celebrities from running for government positions?
Your timer starts.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's working.
should we ban celebrities from running for government position? My answer is yes. We should ban celebrities from running for government positions because celebrities are famous people and they would probably get more votes from other candidates in that year of election. But the thing is, if they do get these votes, we will not be sure if they will attain their goals and prove that they are really good for their position. So that's why we should ban them from running because what if they are not capable of holding these positions like senators, congressmen, or even the presidency?
So, alright, I'm gonna throw the what if back. Your point is they will win. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
If they run for office, they will win. What if they're not good enough? Now, the other possibility is actually they will win. What if they are good enough? Respond.
Sir, if they will win, they must first prove that they are good enough. Like having OJTs, like what the daughter of Vice President Binay did. She had OJTs in Makati before she ran for her position right now, which she proved that she is really good for, she is really capable of handling these situations.
Okay, sige. Let's do it this way. I can kill you at Binay, pero I'm gonna play fair. First, define celebrities. What are celebrities? So that we can argue on an even ground.
So celebrities are famous people or descendants of famous people, artists, singers, and people of the same degree of fame.
All right. You have to realize that people who attain their fame actually attain their fame legitimately. Take newscasters, for example. Loren Legarda is a functioning senator, used to be a newscaster, was a celebrity. There are celebrities like Tony De Castro, became vice president, actually did decently as a vice president, was a celebrity. If people like bright people like Jessica Soho, people like Mike Enriquez, they're bright people, newscasters, they're celebrities, you ban them as well? Respond.
Yes, sir. They must be banned because everyone has the right to vote, sir, right?
Yes.
So people will think that these famous men and women are really good enough for their position. But what if they are not? That's what I'm trying to say earlier. But sir, I really believe that they are not capable of doing these jobs because they don't have that right training for this job. So basically, sir, mostly lawyers are the ones who run for these positions, like senators, congressmen. But sir, if we think of it generally, these people, like celebrities, don't have these trainings that lawyers have. What if they are just running for the sake of money, for the sake of fame, more fame, because that is what they are thinking of. Now, if they will be more famous, they will gain more money. So, yeah.
Sige, we're talking of training now. They should not run because they don't have the training. What training exactly are we talking about? What training would you require before a person could run for any government position?
I would require a person a training like handling people. So first, one must have the experience to handle people, and they must also have the patience because these positions are really harsh in a way. So if they don't have these trainings like what lawyers have, because lawyers could handle people and they could deal with them, and if celebrities don't have this ability, they might not have the the right job for them.
Alright, last question. So you're saying a person must know how to handle people, must be able to lead,
Yes, sir.
and then they can run for position. Alright. Fernando Po Jr., I know he's dead, pero God rest his soul. Fernando Po Jr. could deal with people. He has leadership potential because he does run a lot of production companies along the side. Diba? The King, Fernando Po Jr.
Sir.
But he's a celebrity. You're gonna ban him?
Still, yes sir. Even though he has this training of handling people because he has these companies like production companies, right sir? He should still be banned because it's like bias. Because senators, congressmen run for higher positions after their term has ended, but they will have a lesser chance of winning because of these celebrities.
Alright, last na lang Jun. I know I said last a while ago, pero this will be the last and then I'll let you have the final say. A person who does not have the training you require, a person who has never had training to deal with people, a person who has never had the chance to lead, but has the sincere heart to serve the people, has a sincere heart to serve the people and is incorruptible, very honest, incorruptible, but has never led people, you're gonna ban them as well. Because as you said,
Sir, are you talking about celebrities?
no, sorry, I am not talking about celebrities. I'm talking about normal, ordinary people who, as you said, have never had a chance to lead, do not know how to deal with people, but have the golden heart to serve, and at the same time are incorruptible.
Sir.
So you're saying, by your line of thought, they cannot run. That's the last question.
Okay, sir. So what I'm banning to run for positions are celebrities who have not undergone training, because they will have higher chance of winning because they are celebrities, they're famous, they're rich. Now, sir, if we have this individual who has the golden heart to serve other people, he or she will have to still undergo training because he will what do you call this? He will seek more experience because that person knows if he is capable or not to handle a country or a mass of people. So if this person who has the golden heart of serving, he will, in his instincts, still have he will seek more experience and more learning so that he could lead the people well. So.
Alright, that will be all. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Dapat neutral.
Reminder, fun.
It's like really honest.
Wait, where's your timer?
Lugi.
Julius!
Julia, stop touching the ring.
Julius, we have to leave na. We have to leave na.
Stop.
Sir, yan ko nila sir.
Oh, sige. Close the door. Please close the
Say
door.
something.
Yeah, I kill myself too.
What?
Sorry. Please state your name and section for the camera.
My name is Vishal N. Kainani. I am from section 9C of Corpus Christi.
Please pick your question.
Oh no.
I didn't get the same topic I did.
That would be impossible.
For the camera, please read your question out loud.
Should we ban the candidacy of people who want to run for senator if they do not have a law degree?
I think that has been taken last week.
Yeah, that's been taken by my classmates.
Guy, kung kadong
Paul Bayer. Kaya Paul Bayer.
Go ahead. Please read the question out loud.
Should we force criminals to work in prison factories instead of just letting them stay in jail?
Dili, wala pa na. Your timer starts.
Yeah, switch was taken.
Liboy na lang last time. Oh, nadudugo ko siya ng titi. So, flavors. Go.
So the Russia says, strictly force criminals to work in prison factories instead of just letting them stay in jail. Well, I say no, because if you put them in prison factories, first of all, some prisons have a bad history of inmates attacking each other. So like all these fights and all. So once we put them in factories, what happens if like all these lead pipes lying around? What happens if they're able to get hold of a loose one and just beat someone up with it? Especially those of like with charges of murder, rape. Second of all, once we put them in prison factories, what happens if it's like one of the lowest security in the whole prison, sir? The prisoners would have more chance of escape, sir. Like with all these vents and all, like maybe less cameras, less security guards. Because what if the prison wardens might think like, oh, they're in the factory, they'll be safe. It's like, it's not very well. So let's just have to do that.
Seriously, you seriously think that if we create prison factories, we are not going to up the security? Do you seriously think that if we make prison factories, they are not going to remain handcuffed, etc.?
Well, sir, I don't exactly think that, sir. I'm just kind of prepared. I'm just kind of thinking of all the possibilities that could happen, sir, in all these prisons, like especially one of the lower security ones around the world.
All right, if we make a prison factory and we up the security, then it's okay.
Well, kind of, sir.
Then prison factories are okay.
Well, okay, sir, but then knowing all the equipment there, sir, like every equipment, sir, in hardware stores can pretty much be used to kill, sir. Like all these metal wrenches, metal presses, like especially the heating materials. As I said before, sir, those criminals or prison inmates, they call them, get a hold of one of those things, sir. Like, especially in times that what if a criminal takes time, like when the security is pretty much at its lowest, sir? I'm sure prisons have that kind of time, sir.
All right. Prison factories are great because they can actually give the prisoners skills, working skills that they might need when they finally get out of prison. What about those advantages that you let go because you don't want a prison factory? Respond.
Well, sir, yes, sir. A prison factory may give some skills for the prisoners, sir, that when they go, even if they have a job, maybe all these, but then again, taking in the risks, sir. I mean, what if they weren't exactly taught how to use these machines, sir? What happens, sir, if multiple accidents might occur, sir? Multiple accidents, multiple fights, sir, and possibly, for a worst case scenario, breakouts in prison, sir.
This is the last question. Prison factories already exist. Prison factories exist, for example, in the United States of America. Did you know that some states in the United States of America actually employ prisoners to make things like license plates, to make things like, trade like that? But they work. So if it works there, why can't we make it work for us or for other places? That's the last question.
That's the last question, sir. Well, sir, again, sir, thinking there's, yes, sir, it might work in America, sir. And maybe some other places, sir, but we aren't exactly sure, sir, about here. I mean, I've seen all the police stations here, sir. There are like so many charges, like especially the one in Pueblo Market. Like I bet all you guys have been there. If not, I'm telling you now. But like there is like 6 rows and about 5 columns full of charges, sir. So once we put a factory, sir, we're not entirely sure what they're going to do there. So even with all the hazardous security in some prisons here, sir. I'm sorry for saying too much.
That's okay. Thank you.
Good job! Next person, hurry up, you have to leave.
I still think I'm too nervous.
But
It's okay, we're always too nervous. Hurry up, you have to leave.
Ayaw mag-erase ang camera. Camera CC. For the camera, please state your name and section.
My name is Manuel Apalisok IV. I'm at section 4J.
Please make your question. For the camera, please state your question out loud.
Should we ban the use of violent video games?
Sorry, can you
Na-move na, nagamit na.
Should we ban childish?
Please say your question out loud.
Should the government force medical treatment on patients who no longer wants to be seen?
Balik na po.
Sorry.
Swerte na. Balik. Ito na yan ba?
So many things going in and out. They're flying everywhere. Oh my god.
Please read the question.
Should we ban the sale of books that have any violent or sexual content?
Your timer starts.
Well, I believe that we should ban the sale of books that contain violent or sexual content, but violent or sexual, because as I see nowadays, the readers are getting younger. Just like us, high school, we are reading mangas that usually contains sexual things, just like the book Mr. Mania meets Miss Pervert. Then I say like they are feeding the mind of our youth something that is wrong. And if, as our Philippine hero said, that we are the future of this country, then I believe that the seller should sell a book that will give us more knowledge, a book that we can gain wisdom, just like the biography of our present and our previous presidents, how they achieve their goals, how they manage our economy, and sellers should be wise in choosing the books that they should sell in their store, because there are some kids that they are not mindful of the content of the book that they are reading, and once they feel like the title is good, then they start reading it without seeing the preface, without seeing the synopsis at the back, and the more they read that, their mind will get corrupted, and they can think of something like doing it, because most of the things they have read in the book suggest that they should do something like that. And
alright, you're saying that we should ban books because it's dangerous, we should ban books because it corrupts the mind of children. Books are a form of media, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it expresses just like songs, just like songs, just like movies. So are you saying that all violent movies should be banned as well? All violent all violent songs should be banned as well. All violent video games should be banned as well. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Because a head of a mind of a child is like a sponge. The more they hear something, the more they can adapt. And if we can prevent, somehow mitigate it or lessen the things they hear, so lessen the things that corrupt their mind, maybe we can make their path straight and we can make them a great leader of our nation someday.
Isn't that a form of censorship? You try to limit the exposure of kids against violent video games, against violent books, but at the same time, you limit the amount of knowledge that they can soak, or you limit the amount of knowledge that they can get. How will that work?
For me, sir, it is more easing for me or relaxing that they may know something little of knowledge, they may know something little in that things, in the things that is good, than to know something big in the things that is not righteous, righteous in a sense of holy, but righteous in the eyes of men, like having premarital sex, because some books present that kind of context that some, if you want to be cool, should do this, do that, smoke weed, smoke dope, or anything. But being for me to limit that, it is more relaxing for us that they may know something a little good, but in the near future, I know that it will grow because it is planted. Because if once it is planted in the mind of a child, I know that somehow, sooner or later, that it will grow and he can share it to others.
All right. If you're saying that if we plant violence in a child's mind, then someday it will grow. I want to remind you that books nowadays, even the ones that are supposedly safe to study in class, are actually very violent. Noli Me Tangere is a very violent, psychologically violent book. Your biology textbook is a very violent book. Like, if you look at the food chain, how a lion has to kill a predator and a man has to kill a lion, etc., etc. They're very violent books. The Holy Bible is a very violent book. So we ban all of those things? Respond.
Well, I believe that violent things are something that children should know, but the violent things that children should not know is like out of the context of the education. There's something once a child will read a book, there should be an adult who is guiding him, so that everything that he or she hear will be, or he or she will read or hear, will be like strained or something that will.
That's correct. That's actually what we do now. We do not ban books the same way we do not ban movies, we do not ban TV shows, but we put there parental guidance. So therefore, you're saying it's okay for a child to read a violent book for as long as there is parental guidance. Is that what you're saying?
Somehow, sir.
So therefore, we should not ban books, ban violent books.
For me, sir, we should ban violent books.
But you just said a while ago, it's okay to not ban violent books for as long as there is a parent watching, there is parental guidance. And you want to ban it, you don't want to ban it. Oh, what? Go.
Well, for me, sir, I think we should really need to ban, not really ban it, not like totally ban, but just like we need to put a paraphrase on it, like we should use something that is more more childish word or like
Alright, but you were saying, sige, this is my last question. You were saying a while ago, they should not be exposed to any violence at all. Because those ideas of violence, even though they may not be apparent now, it plants seeds of violence which may grow later in children. Alright? But just a while ago, you said that, and then just a while ago you're saying it's okay for as long as there's parental guidance. And now you're coming back and saying, no, we should ban it. We should ban it for as long as, we should ban it and we should put some sort of paraphrase, etc., etc. So, your stand is more or less inconsistent. You have this last chance. What exactly is your stand on it?
should just censor it, like put a like just like put something that put a in a seller's shop. We should like put a age limit for a age gap. Who can read this book? Who cannot? Like if they sell violent things or any sexual books, they should like try to consolidate it or put it in somewhere else that kids cannot go. Just like in a public library, they should put books that are not child friendly in a more isolated place, so that only adults or children at the right age, people at the right age can read it.
Okay, thank you very much.